Hi everyone, and welcome to my new video on the Dfinity SDK. In this video, I kind of just wanted to go over a few things that kind of tripped me up in the beginning when I was trying to learn the ins and outs of the language. Well, technically I still am, but these were some things that caused me some banging my head against the wall in the beginning when I was trying to learn the very basics of the language. So hopefully in here I can help save you some time if you're running into some similar issues. So let's get started. First, let's just point out the version of the SDK I'm currently on. So you can see it's version 0.4.7 right now, which is the latest as of making this video. Let's go to our first example. The first example is what we're going to do is our do something one. So right here, our function, we are returning an optional value. And here, I was actually getting errors because I did not have the question mark to signify an optional variable that I was returning. So when you return an optional value, you need to signify it by prepending it with the question mark before your return value and the variable that you're returning. If you do not, you will see an error similar to this one. Let's rebuild our project. We are trying to return a natural number, and we're trying to return an optional natural number, but we're actually returning just a straight up natural. So that's not going to work. The variable you return needs to be prepended with a question mark for it to work. Okay, now let's move on to our do something to function here. This one, we're going to talk about kind of the quirky use of semicolons or not use of semicolons within the language right now. This isn't really documented anywhere, but if anyone from the SDK team wants to point me and the rest of the devs in the right direction, that'd be of great help. Or maybe it's just some weird compilation error, but as of right now, let me just show you how it is. When you have any sort of block of code, the last line in that block does not need to be delimited by a semicolon for it to work. And this works for any kind of block. Right now this is a conditional, but if we did a sort of loop or just a straight up block where we wanted to return a value to a variable, it would be the same thing. Also, since this block of code is not the final line within this function, we need to delimit it by a semicolon. If we do not, we will get an unexpected token error because it will run through here and it'll hit line 23. We'll get an error. So let me just show you that right now. Let's go back to DFX. Let's build the project, and boom, we get an unexpected token error. And this has been pretty consistent, which is a little odd that it kind of works that way. But if you let me show something else right here. We'll block this off by an else. Now, this block of code is the final final line of code within this function, and believe it or not, this will actually not error. So, and that actually compiles successfully, as you can just see, which is a little strange, but maybe the SDK team can point us in the right direction. But just remember with this, for right now, on the latest version we are using, if you have a block of code, regardless of the type of block of code that you have, and it is not the final line, you must delimit it with the semicolon, and you can get rid of this unexpected token error, which I actually ran into quite a bit when I was trying to write my first files in Motoko. And as we can see now it compiles successfully. Now let's move on to the final thing I kind of wanted to point out, which is that you cannot, as of this latest version, you cannot have two actors in one Motoko file. So I got my first actor here, and I was trying to do a second actor here, not in this file, but another one. And for the longest time, I could not figure out why this was not compiling. Let me just show you real quick. let's save it, and you'll get an expression of type error of the type. It'll be of type actor here because we have multiple actors. Now, I do want to point out that this is actually in the dev docs if you look through them, but it's a little hidden, so it's not something super obvious that you would maybe see right away. So just hopefully you can save some time here and just use one actor for now in your Motoko files. So if we should just comment this out, it'll be resolved because now we're down to just one actor in our file. And that was kind of it. I just wanted to show those real quick, and I want to just express again that this is for version 0.4.7. All this could change in later versions of the release, but as for right now, if you are developing for this version of the SDK, these are some helpful little hints and tricks if you are trying to figure out why your code is not compiling. Hopefully this saves you some time. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or questions below. Thanks.